Friends, as Rojing said, Sukho Buddhanang Upado. Happy is the birth of the Buddha in the world. The Blessed One, the Enlightened One, appeared in the world out of great compassion for the countless beings. His arising in the world is the rising of great wisdom, great understanding, and his arising in the world brought so much peace, happiness, and joy to all the living beings. So today, friends, is such a wonderful day, a memorable day, a very important day for all of us, especially these friends who are sitting here, those who are going to observe 3 refuge and 5 precepts. Can I have the hands of those good friends who are going to be Buddhists today? How many of you? Well, there are some more to come, I believe so. Well, why do you want to be a Buddhist in the first place? Some are born to be Buddhists, and some others claim to be Buddhist, and some are Buddhist only by name and label, but not by practice. But no one is a Buddhist by birth or label, but by practice. So today you are going to take up this practice, today onward, till life's end. You are going to be a Buddhist, but not by label, but by practice. Sometimes people come to the temple in special occasions, like before they go for a new job, or before they get married, or sometimes young teenagers. They are brought to the temple by parents before they sit for the exams. And we experience usually Buddhist monks having done some parita chanting, and we sprinkle some blessed water, and then we tie some blessed string. And this is tradition. These are some simple devotional practices, which in fact are very meaningful in a different way. But we notice most of the time, especially young teenagers as well as some adults, when we try to tie strings in their hand, and we have heard these kind of remarks. Oh, Bhante, I do not want to tie. Can I keep it in my wallet? Have you done it earlier? Or some say, oh, I'm not very comfortable wearing it. But the question here is not that just because you wear a blessed string that you will be a Buddhist or you will be a blessed person. But the question is your attitude. Why do you have to feel so inferior to show yourself that you are Buddhist? Why do you have to be so secretive to practice to be Buddhist? And sometimes in working places, in offices, and they practiced very quietly. They do not want to tell that they are Buddhist. Why do we have to have this inferior type of feelings? In fact, if you know the teachings of the Buddha, you will be a proud Buddhist. You will be proud to be a Buddhist. So today I'm going to spend a little bit of time to emphasize and look at the points. Why should we be proud as Buddhists? Well, before I proceed with the talk, I need to explain 2 words. The one term is proud, the other term is Buddhist. When I said be proud being a Buddhist, the term proud is used here to mean feel noble, feel elated, have your own dignity, and being a Buddhist. So proud is a term that we means to feeling elated, feeling noble, and feeling great confidence. Buddhist here, as I told, not by birth, not by label, but by practice. So if you are someone who understands the Dharma and practice the Dharma, and you are a Buddhist, then what are the points that you can be proud of being a true Buddhist? Such a person who understands this true Dharma and put it into practice, and such a person is like a lion. He is brave and he doesn't tremble at the sound of the forest. So you are not scared of the tremble and sounds of the others who sometimes try to disparage. You are like an elephant who is not fear of hearing the thunders. And you will be like a nest that is not going to cling to the wind. You will be like a mountain rock which is not shaken by the wind. Such is your confidence in the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Such is your inspirations towards the triple gems. Well, friends, in the first place, why do we have to be proud as Buddhists? Because we are a group of people who are following the path towards enlightenment, towards the directions of wisdom and understanding. And if you look at many religions in the world, the base for many religions is the faith and belief. Many religions will come and tell you, believe me, have faith in so and so. But Buddha never says, believe me. What did the Buddha say? Paccatthang veditabbo vinyohi. This teaching should be understood by wise human beings. Ehi passiko, come and check it yourself. Rather than saying, come and believe me, he said, come and check it yourself. He challenged wise human beings, intelligent human beings to test these precious teachings. So that is why we need to be proud, friends, because we are a group of people who are heading for right understanding. So base for Buddhist teaching is not the faith, but the right understanding. Like when a piece of gold is given to a goldsmith, he will cut it, touch it, and rub it, and do a lot of experiments to make sure that it's a genuine piece of gold, exactly in the same manner. When you come to the Dharma, you must scrutinize it, analyze it, check it, question it, re-question it, then only you will accept. You should not accept the teachings of the Buddha just because it is written down in the books, or just because it is said by monks or nuns or some other people, but you must understand it by yourself. This is right understanding. That's why we have to be proud being a Buddhist, because we are not following the teachings blindly, but we are following the teachings with right understanding. Again, friends, when it comes to faith, or blind faith and the understanding, when many religions say, come and believe me and have faith, and you are not allowed to question. Why? If you were allowed to question, then you will question the faith, question the belief, then you will deviate from the system. So they do not allow you to question the faith. And those people who are questions certain religious faith, in the history, they are tortured, they are imprisoned, and they were killed. Even today, those people who question certain faith, they will be publicly killed and executed. And it happened in the past, and it is happening now. But not in the teachings of the Buddha. And the right understanding is impossible without the freedom of thinking and analyzing. And if you again look at the Buddhism, the freedom that the Buddha offered you to analyze and scrutinize cannot be found in any other religions. In fact, friends, Buddha himself offered to his followers and encouraged the followers even to test the Buddha and analyze his own enlightenment. Such is his teachings. I think many of you have heard about Kalama Sutta. Can I have the hands of those friends who have heard about Kalama Sutta? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good. Got some number of friends. What happened one day? Buddha visited a small townlet called Kesaputta. And the people who lived in this particular area, they were known as Kalamas. Like people who live in Singapore, they are called Singaporeans. So they are known as Kalamas. And they had a question. What was the question? Many religious teachers, they passed by this townlet, since it was a very prosperous town. And all the religious teachers visited the town, and they proclaimed that their teaching is the only teaching and the right teaching. All the other teachings are wrong. So then after some time, another religious teacher comes and repeats the same thing. So each and every religious teacher comes to their town and proclaim that their teachings is the only teaching and real teaching. All the other teachings are wrong. Then when Buddha visited this town, these people came and said, Lord, Venerable Sir, those religious teachers who visit our township, and they proclaim their teachings are the only teachings and the others are wrong. So we have perplexity, doubt. Which one of them is telling us the truth and which one is telling the untruth? So the Buddha said, Kalamas, the doubt has arisen in a right place, that it's doubtful. And he further said, Etta tumhe kalama, ma anusarena, ma paramparai, ma itikirai, ma pitaka sampatanena, ma takkahetu, ma nayahetu, akara parivitakken. Do not believe anything just because it is written down in holy books. Do not believe anything just because it is coming down from the generations to generations. Do not believe anything because it appears so. Do not believe anything just because it logically seems to be right. Do not believe anything just because it is said by a monk or a nun or a holy person. Do not believe anything just because the speaker is so clever that he gets the ability to make your mind to think in such a way, competence of the speaker. But use your common sense. When you use your common sense, if you understand certain things, once they are adopted and practiced, if they lead to miseries and sufferings, and then give up them. When you understand certain things, when you accept and follow and practice, and they bring peace, happiness, and joy, then you practice them. So here Buddha is encouraging your common sense, common understanding. So this is the base of the Buddhism again, the right understanding and freedom of thinking and analyzing. That is why, friends, you need to be proud being a Buddhist. Again, friends, if you see many religions and compare with the Buddhism, all the religions in the world, they encourage righteous conduct, morality. But how do they introduce the morality? Many religions will teach you, be good, and the God will reward you in the heaven. If you do good and if you believe good, the God will choose you to be in the heaven. But if you do evil, wicked, immoral actions, the God will throw you, cast you into the hell. So the God here is sitting in judgment, judging you. So if you do good, you will be rewarded. If you do evil, you will be punished. So this is somewhat similar. When you say, when your child does something good, you reward him, give some sweet. And when he do something bad, then you punish him. Somewhat similar kind of concept. But here morality is introduced with the fear and terror of hellfire, or inducing them the heavenly pleasure and happiness. But Buddhism never introduced morality using the fear or this inducing the mind with this pleasure. So what is the base for morality in Buddhist teachings? In Buddha's teaching, the base for the morality is right understanding and compassion. Buddha never introduced morality using the hellfire or heavenly bliss. Rather than that, he makes sure that you understand and you have compassion. He said, Sabbe tasanti dandasa sabbe bhayanti machuno. Attanang upamang katva nahane yenagate. He said, refrain from killing, torturing. Why? He said, Sabbe tasanti dandasa. All the living beings, they have fear towards punishment. Sabbe bhayanti machuno. All the living beings, they have so much fear towards the death. Attanang upamang katva. Take yourself as an example. Nahane yenagate. Just like you do not like to be tortured, and the other living beings also do not like to be tortured and killed. So having taken yourself as an example, having understood it, out of great compassion, refrain from evil, wicked, immoral actions. So that is the base of the teachings, friends. So Buddhism never encouraged morality based on the fear, but based on understanding and compassion. That's why we need to be proud being a Buddhist again. But again, friends, many religions, if you ask them what is their goal in life, what is the goal in practicing the religion, many of them will point out to the heaven. Why do many people follow religions? Because they want to be born in the heaven. But if you look at the Buddhist practice, why do Buddhists practice the teachings of the Buddha? Heaven is not the last goal for the Buddhists. Heaven can be interim goal for the Buddhist. But the goal of the Buddhist is attainment of enlightenment. Now look at these two goals of the Buddhist and the other religions again. Many religions, they point out the heaven as their last goal. But is there anybody who go to the heaven while living? Can you go to the heaven while living? And if you want to be born in the heaven, you have to die first. Who knows after the death whether you go to the hell or heaven? No guarantee. But they say, if you believe so and so, you will be born in the heaven. But this statement saying, believe so and so, you will be in the heaven, cannot be tested. It's just a belief only. There's no way that we can verify it at all. But Buddha never says you can attain enlightenment after the death. The enlightenment, Nibbana, is not a goal after the death. Nibbana is to be achieved while you are living here and now. So this is the difference again, friends. The goal of many religions can be achieved only after the death. But the goal of the Buddhists is to be achieved while you are living here and now. So the Nibbana is not something that you need to achieve after the death. It is something to achieve here and now while you are living. Again, friends, why do you have to be a Buddhist? Many religions, they offered you salvation based on the faith, based on the belief. You just believe whether your conduct is good or bad, it doesn't matter. As long as you believe, you will be in the heaven. But in Buddhism, it's different. What does it mean in Buddhism? It depends on your practice. Buddhism is a religion for do-it-yourself type of religion. It means, Buddha says, Attahi attano nato kohi nato parozya. You are responsible for yourself. If you are not responsible for yourself, who else is going to be responsible for your own actions? So friends, Buddhism is a kind of teaching which is known as self-reliance teachings. It's very practical, empirical, and scientific. And it emphasizes your own thoughts, words, and actions. You are the one who create your hell or heaven, no one else. So Buddha emphasizes so much in human thoughts. And he says, watch your thoughts for they become your words. Watch your words for they become your actions. Watch your actions for they become your habit. And watch your habits for they become your character. What's your character for to become your future destiny? So friends, you are the one who create your hell or heaven, nobody else. So Buddha has given due credit to human beings and human intelligence. Buddha never encouraged his followers to depend on an unseen being or unseen force for their salvation. He encouraged each and every one of his followers to work diligently and with right understanding, with right effort, and through transformation, through cultivation of his mind, and through transformation of his character, one can achieve enlightenment here and now. Friends, that is why we need to be proud being a Buddhist, because we are not blind followers, but we are practical people who believe in ourselves rather than believing in unseen force or unseen gods. That's why we need to be proud being a Buddhist. Again, friends, many religions, they, as I said, they can be born in the heaven only after the death. But Buddha has got a different concept. He said, the heaven can be created on the earth, and the heavenly bliss can be experienced by human beings if they can develop 4 divine qualities. What are these 4 divine qualities? These are the immeasurable love, measurable compassion, appreciative joy, and perfect equanimity. So if Buddhists were to uphold these righteous practices, in fact, they can enjoy divine bliss and divine happiness here and now. You do not have to be born in the heaven. Many religions came down from the heaven, and many religious founders, they came to us and proclaimed, I am the son of the God. Or some said, I am the messenger of the God. So this is the message of the God that I am revealing to you. But Buddha is not a God. He is neither messenger of the God, but he is a supreme human being. Born as a human being and cultivated as a human being and achieved extraordinary state of a human being as Buddha, enlightened being, a supreme one, a marvelous, wonderful one, Acharya Manusa. And not only that, he said, each and every one of you can become a Buddha. And each and every one of you have got the potential to be a Buddha. But provided you work diligently, and each and everyone can be a Buddha. But can you find in any religions, any religious founder has said that the followers can be the same as their founders? There's no such kind of things in any other religions, friends. Their founders are the unique people, and nobody else can become the founders. But Buddha said to his followers, if you behave like me and work like me, each and every one of you can be a Buddha. So friends, our Buddha, the one that we follow, is a supreme human being, a wonderful human being. Of course, not an ordinary, but extraordinary type of being. And we all have got the capacity to become like him. That's why we need to be proud. And Buddhism is started on the earth and it reached to the heavens. And we call the Buddha Satta Deva Manusanam, the teacher of gods and men. So he is not only a teacher to human beings, he is also a teacher to divine beings. There are many discourses where the divine beings approach the Buddha and question the Buddha and learn the Dharma. So friends, Buddhism is started on the earth, and it is homocentric religion, earth-bound religion, but reached to heaven. Many religions started in the heaven and came down to the earth. This is where, again, we need to be proud being a Buddhist, friends. Again, friends, many religions uphold this view. What do they say? Only our followers will be born in the heaven. All the others will go to the hell. So they divide the whole people into 2 groups. Saved and lost. Right? The people who are saved are the ones who follow my faith. And the rest of the people are lost, go to hell. So now there are all these religions. Each and every religion comes and say, only our God is the true God. If you follow our God, you will be born in the heaven. And Otherwise, you will be born in the hell. So this is one religion. Religion A comes and tell you. Then religion B comes and say the same thing. Only our religion is the true religion. Our God is the only powerful one. Only those who follow our God will be in the heaven. The rest will be in the hell. So the religion C also come and say the same thing. So friends, which religion is telling the truth? And doubt arises here. Well, if I were to choose hell or heaven, definitely I will choose to be born in the hell. Why it is so? Because my master is already in the hell, the Buddha. Because he is not a believer. He is not a believer, so according to their point of view, the Buddha and the great Arahants and all the other Bodhisattvas, they all are in the hell. So I choose to be in the hell then. Because that is how they look at it. But what do the Buddha say in fact? Buddha never says Buddhism is the only religion. Remember it. Buddha never says Buddhism is the only religion. All the other religions are wrong. Buddha never say that. What do the Buddha say? Buddha in fact accept and respect the other religions. And he said to his followers, Pujacha pujaniyanam. Respect those who are worthy enough to be respected. And he never says you must respect only to the Buddha and his followers. And most beautifully, friends, Buddhism never says only Buddhists will be born in the heaven and the rest will be born in the hell. What does the Buddha teach? Buddha says, anyone can be born in the heaven as long as you do good and be good. So whether you have a religion or whether you do not have religion, whether you are a free thinker or otherwise, or whether you are Buddhist or not, regardless of your caste, class, case, and any other boundaries, you can be born in the heaven as long as you do good and be good, friends. So this is such a practical, empirical religion, a teachings, friends. That is why we need to be proud being a Buddhist. Again, friends, if you want to talk about a religious tolerance, I do not see any other religions on the earth where the religious tolerance is upheld to that extent as the Buddha. Buddhism throughout the history uphold the righteous principle of non-violence and tolerance. Well, we can see in many other religions, they went to the extent to massacre and killed those unbelievers. But as far as Buddhism is concerned, friends, Buddhism spread far and wide in the world, throughout Asia, and now it is spreading in Western countries in a peaceful way. Not a single drop of blood was shed in the name of the Buddha or in the name of propagating his teachings in the world. We can see in the human history, and it is reddened with blood, and it started by religions. Religion caused to shed a lot of blood in the world, but Buddhism as a teaching has not contributed for this, even to shed a single drop of blood. And if you see in the history, friends, what happened most of the time? Certain religions, the people who belong to certain religions, they conquered some area. After conquering, for those who are defeated, and they are given two options. What are these two options? Either to be converted to their new faith or to embrace the death. That is how they did it. They did it when it came to India, as well as many other parts of the Asia, when they conquered the lands. And they gave these two options. Either you will be converted to our religion or you will be executed. But Buddhism spread far and wide in the world, such a peaceful way, such a wonderful way, spreading the teachings of the Buddha, the message of peace. Buddhism is a teaching of peace and non-violence. The first precept that all the Buddhists uphold is panatipata, refraining from killing, torturing, injuring, non-violence, friends. Buddha throughout his life, he dedicated for the peace. He uttered peaceful words only. And he intervened the war and he stopped the wars. And there were many occasions where he intervened the wars. But what happened after he passed away? Buddha passed away in the kingdom of Kushinara on a day like today, Vesak full moon day. And after he passed away, in 7 days' time, his body was cremated. And once after the body was cremated, there remained some relics, some bodily particles. Now, in ancient India, the 7 kings from 7 kingdoms came forth and claimed the relics. Each and every king said, Buddha was our master, and he used to live in our kingdom, and he is our teacher. We need the relics. Another kingdom came forward and said, Buddha was our relative. He's coming from Sakya kingdom, and he is our relation. So we need the relics. In this way, friends, many kingdoms, 7 of them came forward and claimed the relics. The kings of the Malla kingdom said, even though he was born and spread the teachings and lived in somewhere, at the end he came to our kingdom and he passed away in our kingdom. We are the one who cremated his body, and we are not going to give you the relics. And the relics belong to us. Now what happened? After 7 days, all these kings and their generals and they all came and had assembled. Now, either war or peace over the relics. In this assembly, when these kings and generals were disputed and argued and about to go for the war, one of the Brahmin Drona, stood up and he uttered these words. Sunantu bonto mama eka vakyang. Amhaka buddho ahu kantivado. These are the words he said. He said, Lords, let me utter you one single sentence. What is the single sentence he uttered? Amhaka buddho ahu kantivado. Our Buddha dedicated for peace. That was enough. And all the dispute was settled and everybody agreed to distribute the relics among themselves and build stupas. So friends, Buddha was such a wonderful person who dedicated for the peace. And we are following such a wonderful human being, a human teacher who lead us to peace. So Buddhists, they uphold peace and there's no any violence in the teachings of the Buddha. Remember, when I said this, don't misinterpret my words. When I say that this is what I mean, it does not mean there is no crime, there's no bloodshed, there's no war in the Buddhist land. I do not mean that. In Buddhist countries, there can be political conflict, there can be bloodshed, there can be crimes, whatever, all this. It is possible. Maybe Buddhist kings have gone to the war and fought the war. But none of the Buddhist king had the war in the name of the Buddha or name of the Dharma. None of the great monarch of the Buddhist lands had the war with the intention of propagating the Dharma. None of the Buddhist king forced the other people to convert to be Buddhists. None of them did it. On the other hand, friends, in Buddhist land, if there were some crimes and these evil actions, you cannot trace them into the teachings. Where in other religions, their wars and their crimes can be traced back to their holy books. Why? They have holy war. And they justify the holy war. And they justify their crimes. And they can say that non-believers can be killed. And in the process of killing non-believers, if you were to die, you will be born in the heaven. We do not have such kind of teachings found in the teachings of the Buddha. So if there are any violence in Buddhist lands, you cannot trace back to the Buddha or to his teachings. So no one can justify these crimes in the name of the Buddha or in the name of the Dharma or Sangha. The triple gems are the most pure. And that is why, friends, we have to uphold these teachings, and that is why we need to be proud being a Buddhist. Again, friends, if you want to talk about the science, Buddhism is scientific, in fact. Buddhism is a kind of religion which is applicable in modern society. Some people tend to think Buddhism is outdated religion because of their not understanding. But if you were to talk about Buddhism, and it is more closer to the scientific discoveries and scientific knowledge, today Buddhism is needed to the society more than it was needed to the society thousands of years back. And every intelligent human being now, they are thinking about the Buddhism and are turning to be Buddhists. The greatest scientist in the world, Albert Einstein. And he said, in time to come, human beings will become more intelligent. The science and technology will discover many more things. In such kind of scientific age and society where people live, and if humankind need a religion, and only Buddhism can cope with it. Look at the world. In the light of the science, many religions, they are dwindling away. Their theories are dwindling away. When Charles Darwin discovered the theory of evolution, many religions trembled. Why? They believe that God created the human beings and other living beings. When the Charles Darwin, they discovered this, and when the great scientists and the great people who are intelligent people, when they understand the origin of the living beings and evolution, these religions could not stand in the light of the science. And sometimes they go to the extent to kill the people who discover the science. The Galileo Kelly, who in fact propagated the Copernicus system, where people believed the Earth is the center of the universe and Earth is flat. Nicholas Copernicus proved 1543 that in fact the sun is the center of the universe, not the earth. But later stage Galileo Kelly proved it furthermore, and they started furthermore discover it and created a telescope and proved it. But what happened to him? He was forced to take out his statements. When he failed to do that, he was imprisoned and he died in the prisons. So friends, religious persecutions were done. And why it is so? Because these discoveries are against for their teachings. So friends, but Buddhism, when the science discover many more things, friends, in the light of the science, Buddhism shine forth like bright sun. Buddha says, Vivatto virochati no patichanno. As long as my teaching is expounded and revealed to the world, it will shine forth like sun and moon. Not as long as it's hidden. So friends, don't be afraid. Reveal this teaching. And this teaching is scientific. And no scientist so far could prove Buddhism is wrong. In fact, if we want to talk about science and Buddhism, there are much more things that we can talk about. So friends, that is why we need to be Buddhist, because Buddhism is scientific and it is revealing the scientific fact in a different way. Because science and Buddhism, on the other hand, we are heading towards the same direction, the direction of understanding and wisdom. We are directing the reality towards the truth. The approach might be different, but at the end we discover the same thing, friends. That is why Buddhism is needed for modern society than the others. And today we are talking about mindfulness meditations. There are people who adopt the Buddhist teachings and repack them and sell in their market. Mindfulness-based stress reduction, mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. And these are some of the courses that you have to pay thousands of dollars just to learn Vipassana meditation in a different language, in different package, in different light. But you are born to inherit this. But you tend to take Buddhists or Buddhist teachings as a very old-fashioned religions. What is the reason for this, friends? Suppose, friends, there are two gems. One of the gem is a genuine one. The other one is a fake one. But this fake gem is wrapped in colorful papers and decorated nicely and shine forth. But the genuine gem is wrapped in color faded away papers and it's not attractive anymore. Now, if you were to keep these two gems in open, of course, in the first glance, our eye will attract that gem, which is the fake one, because of its outlook, its decoration. But if you go and further genuinely investigate, do thorough investigation and check it, then you will understand which one is the genuine gem and which one is the fake one. This is what has happened to Buddhism today, friends. We have got the precious gem, but our wrapping is very old. We do not know how to present it to the world. But where many other fake gems, they can present in such a way and they can attract the people. So friends, Buddhists, they must change. They must change their approach to propagate the teachings, friends. So Buddhism is in fact not outdated. It is much more modern. It was discovered 2,500 years back and is still valid today. Where when the scientists discover many things, other religions, they had to change their teachings from time to time. So there are religions who change their teachings in order to fit to scientific theories. And I don't want to label them. Use your common sense, you will understand what I mean here. So friends, the teachings of the Buddha said, it is akaliko, beyond the time. The teachings of the Buddha is beyond the time. And because that is the eternal truth. So we are following such kind of teaching. That is why we need to be Buddhist. And we need to be proud being a Buddhist. I think this much is enough as a talk, even though we can go further. And if you have got some questions, I will be very happy to answer to your questions. And especially related to being a Buddhist. Or if you do not have any question related to this topic, any other questions will do. But let's try to concentrate on the topic today, since we are going to have some friends who are going to be Buddhist. And if you have got any queries that you are facing in the society, and why do you feel inferior to be Buddhist? And if you have got such kind of queries, maybe we can spend some time for Q&A.
Shall we put our palms together and say sadhu 3 times? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. For friends who are new to Buddhist fellowship, instead of clapping, as Buddhists we say sadhu, which means excellent. It's a form of unanimously like coming to an agreement for a wholesome thought, speech, or action. So the Buddha, as Bhante said, encouraged his disciples to investigate and question. If you have any questions, we have about 10 minutes open to the floor. So just raise your hand and I will come to you with the mic. Anyone or any comments? Otherwise, I'll start the ball rolling in that case, if Bhante doesn't mind. I'm proud to be a Buddhist. Every day, I would polish the gem. But sometimes I wonder, how can I do more to make the packaging better, but yet at the same time, keep to the Dharma, as Bhante always encourage your students to do so. So it's about how do I improve the packaging and to actually spread the good word of the Buddha Dharma.
Friends, Buddhists do not have to be conservative. Buddhists, they can be conservative when it comes to the Dharma, but not when it comes to the traditions. most of the times, Buddhists, they follow the traditions blindly. This is where we must make the changes. There's nothing to change in the Dharma, but we must make some changes in the traditions. Tradition is not fixed, friends. Tradition came into existence because our forefathers, they introduced certain practices depending on the time and the society they live. So we have various traditions: Sri Lankan tradition, Thai tradition, Burmese tradition, Chinese tradition, Japanese tradition. All these traditions based on their culture, based on their language, based on their countries, time. And all these are subject to change. So if you were to cling to tradition blindly, then you won't be able to teach the Dharma. And you, instead of teaching the Dharma, you are teaching your traditions, you are teaching your culture. Keep away your tradition and culture aside and give the priority to Dharma. Look for the ways and means how to make this Dharma known to the world. Using the present, the world, and examples, and technology, language, and whatever the resources that you can use for it. I will give you some examples to understand how Buddha did this wonderful task. Buddha, in fact, a wonderful teacher, and he taught the Dharma in a wonderful way. He taught the Dharma to different people in a different way. The same message, he modified it. Sometimes he taught, if he come across very intelligent, wise, smart people, and he taught the Dharma in such a way, in a very deep way, profound way, and taught the great philosophy and the deepest doctrine of the teaching. And if we come across someone who is not intelligent enough, average person who does not understand much, and then he talk to the person something suitable for that person. So we can see the different approach of the Buddha. When Buddha came across the King Pukkusati, who was one of the brilliant-minded king, he talked about the Four Noble Truths, dependent origination, and such kind of teachings. But when he came across people who are not so brilliant, then he talked about the morality and the benefit of giving, practicing dana, practicing morality, and leading a family life. So friends, from time to time, Buddha's approach was different. One day he came across a horse dealer. His name was Casey. And in the dialogue, and the Buddha picked up the horse training. And he said, Casey, can you tell me how do you train your horses? Then Casey, of course, started how he trained the horses. Then later stage, Buddha applied the same thing and talked to him and taught him how he teach the human beings like horses in order to become enlightened. When he came across farmers, you can see in the Aggika Bharadwaja Sutta, when he came across the farmer, Buddha talked about farming. And through the farming, he reached the Dharma because he understood his listener. And this man has got knowledge of farming, paddy. And Buddha used that knowledge to talk about the Dharma in a way that person will understand. When Buddha came across kings, and Buddha taught the Dharma to the kings, using the terms of governing and ruling. Cakkawatti Sihanada Sutta, you can see. Buddha is talking about righteous way of ruling the country, and eventually how a king can develop his wonderful, marvelous qualities of virtue, concentration, wisdom, and eventually achieve enlightenment and set up the system for the other human beings to live a successful life here and now, and to be born in the heaven and to achieve enlightenment, so on. So from time to time, depend on the people. When he came across different listeners, he taught the Dhamma in different ways. When he came across a family man, Digajanu, in Vyaggapajja Sutta, Buddha talks about how to lead a happy family life, how to bring up the children, how to take care of one's mother and father, how to take care of one's wife and children, how to earn wealth, how to spend wealth, how to lead a happy married life. When he came across a billionaire Upali or the Anathapindika or such people, he talked about business. So in this way, friends, Buddha's approach was different. Now, are we having such kind of approach to different people here? Most of the time, young people, when they go to the temples, they find it so boring. And chanting goes hours and hours. And elderly people, they expect the teenage girls and boys to behave exactly the same manner like adults. Do we have the programs which are suitable for these people in their different ages? And do we have right approach to the people? So this is where, friends, we need to do the more investigation. But the solution is not the being copycat. Do not be copycat of the church. That's not the solution for it. Be innovative and creative, and you have done it in the past. Look at the history of the Chinese Buddhism, for example. The Chinese culture, the Buddhist culture, is enriched with so many the marvelous, wonderful literature. In the past, in Chinese traditions, they use songs to teach Buddhism. They use poems to teach Buddhism. They use paintings to teach Buddhism, sculpture to teach the Buddhism. They use dramas to teach the Buddhism. And they were very innovative and creative. And are we still innovative and creative? In all the other traditions as well, they use different methods to teach the Buddhism. Today, we have wonderful opportunity. We have internet, computers, smartphones, but are we using them to propagate the Dharma? How many apps can you find in your Android phone or Apple phone that you can easily go and learn the teachings? How many apps do you have? Not many. Perhaps definitely there are, but not many, right? How many, suppose children, for example, when they are teenagers, they are interested of playing games. You cannot stop it. Well, that is their trend. But how many Buddhist games are there in the name of the games that you can teach the Dharma? Have you seen any? Well, this is an area you can explore. And through the digital media now, we are coming to digitalized age. And sometimes our kids, they rather like to play with their tab or computer rather than reading a book. And maybe many of you have seen the app of Cinderella. Have you seen such kind of books which are, like Cinderella type? It's, the e-books with sound and music, and they're very beautifully done. But how many Buddhist children books do we have? So this is the area that we need to expound and move forward. In fact, I'm not advertising here, but just we are trying to do something to this field which is under the digital Dhamma mission. And those people who are having skills For these areas, please approach the Buddhist Fellowship Executive Committee, and then we can come together, join together, and we can do something, because we are interested in the area, and we want to do something to the new field. So friends, there are many things that we can do, but what we are lacking? We are lacking enough experiments. We are lacking enough innovation. Well, how many research have been done in Singapore about the teenagers, Buddhists, why they are turning away from Buddhism, if they are turning? Any research so far? But we have universities and Buddhist societies in the universities in US and Nanyang Technological University, Niam Poly. I do not know, some of you are here, maybe some of the graduates here. And we have Buddhist societies, and have they done any experiments, any research about the Buddhists here? And this is what we want, correct? And how can we approach these people? How can we propagate the Dharma in such a way that we can reach the people? So friends, there are a lot that we can do. So don't be traditional Buddhists. When I say don't be traditional Buddhists, I'm not encouraging or discouraging the tradition and encouraging all the people to be blindly modernized. Tradition is important. Tradition came to existence and survive, and it's important. But blindly following tradition is useless. So follow the religion with understanding. Follow the tradition with understanding. And if there are things that you can take from modern society and those meaningful practices, take them. And if they are not meaningful at all, discard them. And we have to be modernized with understanding. So friends, we need all of us to get together and find ways how to make these precious teachings, Dharma, available freely and readily for each and everyone. Now again, when you ask these questions, do you all think it is the duty of monks and nuns alone to share these teachings? How many of you share the Dharma? Can I have the hands up? Very good. But what about you all? Some of you? Each and every one of you, you must share the Dharma. I do not mean that you must come to public and do public talks or conduct seminars. Of course, that will be wonderful if you can. But sharing the Dhamma does not mean only giving public talks and writing the books. You can share the Dhamma having a cup of tea with your friends. Having a breakfast, you can teach the Dhamma. You can teach the Dhamma to your kid, your child and daughter, while playing in the playground, while going for jogging. Find a way how to do that. Propagating the Dhamma, sharing the Dhamma does not mean we are having only public talks and seminars and those very popular type of educational programs. There are many ways through interpersonal communication. If you uphold Dhamma yourself and putting yourself as an example to your fellow brothers and sisters, you are still propagating the Dhamma. Suppose you are wearing, for example, you are wearing a string, a blessed string, and someone, a non-Buddhist, were to ask, what are you wearing? What is this string? This is the opportunity for you to share the Dhamma. But you must know how to do that. And you must know in the first place, why do I wear this string? What is the meaning of this string? And if you say, it's for blessing, blessing, that's gone. Right? Some people come, oh, it's for blessing. So that's, oh, blessing, okay, finish. And you will miss the chance. And you must explain how it can be a blessing. And you must explain. Anybody can explain? Anybody's wearing the Buddhist the strings here? Yes? What is the meaning of wearing this? Anybody can explain?
Maybe I can share a little bit of my reason of why I'm wearing this. Actually, whenever I wear this, right, it reminds me of the teaching of a Buddha. So this is why, this is where the blessings come into me. Yeah, that's all.
Anybody else is wearing these rings? I think everybody is hiding their hands now. Everybody? Well, maybe, yes? There is someone brave enough to show these rings.
it reminds me, if you lack of a practice of the Buddha's teaching, so each time, let's say if anger is in your mind, and then when you look at the string, it reminds you not to be angry. I mean, it's to really get rid of all your defilements.
So friends, these are opportunities to share the Dharma. And you must do that. Suppose friends, maybe you have seen the strings. Sometimes they come in Buddhist flags. Can I show you strings? So this is in Buddhist flags, correct? So this Buddhist flag, the flag for any country, for any nation, it stands for the solidarity, for the unity. When we have the Singapore flag is flying in the sky, don't you feel so proud? Don't you feel like you are a lion in the lion city? You feel it. And you are brave and we are very proud to say, I'm a Singaporean. And that flag stands for the unity, solidarity of this nation, of this country. Exactly the same manner, Buddhist flag stands for the unity of the Buddhist. And it stands for the true Dharma that we all stand for. So when you wear strings around your hand, which comes in the Buddhist flag, you are standing for the true Dharma. You are upholding the true Dharma. And you are someone who follow the teachings of the Buddha. So you are someone who follow the Noble Eightfold Path. And if you follow the Noble Eightfold Path, you will be a noble human being who bring peace and happiness for yourself here and now, and you will bring peace and happiness of the others. Isn't it a great blessing? And that is how you must explain. And some strings have got 3 strings, and that represent the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I'm someone who follow the Buddha, accept the Buddha as my teacher. I'm someone who accept his teachings and practice, and I'm someone who follow the footsteps of the Sangha. So those who follow the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, they are the true followers. They refrain from evil, they cultivate good, they purify the mind. And don't you think such a person is a blessed person? A person who brings peace and happiness, joy to the many? And that is how it becomes a blessing. And again, as we said, these strings always remind me, always, to keep away from evil. It always reminds me to cultivate the good. It always reminds me and encourages me to follow the Dhamma, follow the noble path. When evil, wicked, immoral, unwholesome thoughts arise in my mind, and I look at it, and it inspires me to get rid of them. It teaches me simply to forgive and let go the grudges. It simply teaches me to be compassionate. It simply teaches me to be mindful. So friends, that's how you can share the Dhamma with the others. So when you get this opportunity, when someone asks, and what is this? You must explain it. So everyone must wear these strings. Because there is opportunity and must show off your strings, correct? Sometimes that's why, when you are not confident yourself being a Buddhist, then you cannot share the Dhamma. In the first place, I want each and every one of you who want to be a Buddhist today be confident enough. Make sure that you want to be a Buddhist. If not, the door is open. I believe they will open the door for you. You can go. And if you are not yourself confident enough and you do not know whether I want to be a Buddhist, don't be a Buddhist for label, but to practice. So if you do not know the Dhamma yet, and there are so many courses, there are conducting Buddhist fellowship as well as some other monasteries. There are so many places that you can go and learn. Singapore is such a wonderful place, friends, that you can approach all the 3 traditions. And whatever the traditions you like, you approach and learn. All the 3 traditions, all the 3 schools, we teach the Dhamma in different way. We reach to different people in a different way. So all the 3 traditions uphold the pure teachings of the Buddha as base. So don't follow the religion blindly, or culture or tradition blindly, but with right understanding. So each and every one of you must dedicate yourself to share the teachings. Many people, when it comes to the sharing teachings, they think, oh, we do not have knowledge, or we do not know the Dhamma. This is, in fact, is not the correct attitude. Because there are so many Buddhists in Singapore, they do not know anything about Buddhism, but they are Buddhists. Suppose you know how to practice metta meditation, but you may not know how to expound the deep Dharma like doctrines, Four Noble Truths, dependent origination, 3 marks of existence. Or you may not know how to explain vipassana meditation, but maybe you know how to teach metta meditation. Teach it. Maybe you do not know much chanting, but you know how to chant Namo Tassa. That's good enough. Teach it. Whatever you know, out of compassion, you must teach to the others. It can be while you are having your breakfast, while you are going for your jogging, or any other time. So being lay people, each and every one of you must dedicate yourself to practice and share this Dharma.
I'm afraid. Okay, one more question. Is it okay?
Bante, just now you mentioned there are various 3 traditions. So my question is there a difference taking refuge in the different traditions?
Is there a difference taking refuge in 3 different traditions? Well, this is a simple, a devotional practice that we have uphold in Theravada traditions. That's what we are going to do here today. In Mahayana tradition as well as in Tibetan tradition, perhaps the way they conduct might be different from us. But the concept is the same concept. There is no difference of the concept. The base is the same base. In all the 3 traditions, when we become a Buddhist, we take 3 refuge: Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So we accept the Buddha as the supreme teacher, and we accept the Dharma as noble teachings to follow, and we take the Sangha, the noble community of monks and nuns, as our Kalyanamitta, as our noble friends and spiritual guides. Then those people who take 3 refuge, they also observe 5 righteous principles, 5 precepts. So whether it is Theravada or Vajrayana or Mahayana, we all uphold the same principle, same concept. But the way of conducting there, I do not like to call the term rites and rituals because it has got different connotation, but I don't have a proper term to use. So I might use it here. So there are different rites and rituals, or for that reason, different devotional practices or different way of doing it is possible. But the concept is the same concept of accepting the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and going for refuge and observing 5 righteous principles. If I'm not wrong, in Tibetan tradition, there is a slight difference. In Tibetan tradition, instead, other than taking 3 refuge, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, they also take refuge in the teacher. Means they Guru, they can call Guru. So they take the 3 refuge, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and they also include one more. So in fact, it's not 3 refuge, 4 refuge, Guru. But we still follow the original, ancient, and earliest format that we come across thousands of years. No doubt you must have your respect towards your spiritual teacher. But again, in a Theravada tradition, rather than encouraging personal ideology of a monk or a nun, we encourage everyone to follow the Buddha. Because Buddha is my supreme teacher, and whoever is students of mine, they must follow the Buddha because he is my teacher as well. They can respect me as a teacher, but they should not go to the refuge of mine because I'm not enlightened. So rather, I would like to encourage the people to follow the Buddha. So rather than encouraging personal ideology of a monk or a nun or a layperson, we all must follow the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Because we monks, we also follow the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. But well, for due respect to the Tibetan tradition, they have this going for refuge to Guru, to the teacher. They might have reasons for it, and it's not a bad thing as well.
I'm afraid Sorry. I'm afraid in the interest of time, we have to stop the Q&A session here, but not to worry, amongst us there are many lay teachers as well as Bhante is always ready for us if we have any questions. So let's move on to the tea sarana ceremony, but before we go on to that, a little bit of housekeeping. The first 3 rows are actually for the lay